It feels like it's been forever since I've sat down at a keyboard with a camera to talk about musical instruments, and I honestly feel rather out of practice with it, but let's get into practice, starting with today's video about the Crumar 7. I have owned the Crumar 7 for 4 years. Not exactly. I bought it in the summer of 2020, and it's currently the winter of 2024, almost 2025. So it's a kind of a weird time to be making this video. It's not an anniversary video or anything, but I wanted to just talk about and do a retrospective review of the Crumar 7. It's one thing to buy a piece of gear and go, wow, it's really cool, and then not follow up on that, to use the instrument on a daily basis to really get to know it inside and out, and then return to go, hey, here's how the instrument has fared over the 4 years. And that's what today's video is going to be about. It's not going to be a demonstration video. It's not going to be a song and praise, although I mean kind of is. But what I'm just going to be talking about today is how has the keyboard lasted over these past 4 years? Why did I choose it as my daily driver piano for the past 4 years? And how have I enjoyed the experience? That's what today's video is going to be about. So, a little backstory, or just more of information about the Crumar 7, because a lot of people don't know what it is. So if you've clicked on this video having no idea what the Crumar 7 is, let me fill you in. The Crumar 7 is a digital piano that is meant to emulate not a grand piano like almost every other digital piano attempts to do, but instead this really focuses really heavily on emulating vintage electromechanical pianos and keyboard instruments from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Things like the Fender Rhodes, the Roadster 200, the Yamaha CP80, the Hohner Clavinet, the Yamaha DX7, and a couple others. This does those, and it does most of them insanely well. Its main claim to fame, at least in my mind, my image of the Crumar 7 is that of the Fender Rhodes. Like, that's its main claim to fame, is it's got a really great Rhodes patch in it. And they've even gone so far as to make the Crumar 7 kind of look like a Rhodes. You've got a detachable top that turns the whole thing into a suitcase. The legs unscrew like the Fender Rhodes stage models did, and they come in a little bag. You put them in this bag to have the keyboard in one hand and the bag in the other. It's pretty great. They've gone really far to make it have that vintage vibe, that vintage aesthetic, and it's great. I love the way it looks. It looks unique. It looks special, and that's partly why I like it, because it's not like everything else out there. But the main reason that I chose it, well, one of the main reasons I chose it as a daily driver keyboard was just because of that portability. You throw the lid on, you latch it down, you grab the handle, tilt it on its side, unscrew the legs, put them in the bag, you're ready to go. Other keyboards, you have to, take them off the stand, put the stand in the flight case, put the keyboard in the flight case. I don't know why I said put the stand in the flight case. You don't do that. You put the keyboard in the flight case, and then you lock up the flight case and ready to go. So, similar sort of thing, but then you've also got to store the case somewhere, whereas this is its own case. The only thing you have to store is the lid, which is not as big or as bulky as a flight case. It's also only 73 keys, which, as a classical pianist, we're used to 88 keys. Little bit weird. There's a couple pieces of music that I can't play on here. One of the ones that comes to my head is Debussy's Sunken Cathedral. You can't play it on this. There aren't enough keys. But most other pieces you actually can play on here. And the action is really good. The action can handle classical piano music with very few difficulties. One of the things I found about it is that it actually allows me to do trills better on here than on an actual piano, at least the ones that I have access to currently. In some ways, this actually enhances my ability to play, which feels really weird. Some of my friends who've sat down and played this keyboard go, it feels weird. Because it does feel weird. The action isn't trying to imitate a grand piano's action. Instead, it's trying to imitate the action of a Fender Rhodes. It's got that kind of, I don't know how to describe it, like the lumpy, chunky feel, but it's also really responsive, and that's what's important. One of the few things I dislike about the action, as you may have heard, is it's really loud. What you just heard is also kind of boosted by vibrations through the keyboard into my little microphone thing here. If I pick this up and let you hear the sound of the keys, right? If you're doing exercises, that's just what anyone else in the house is going to hear. So the action is very loud. The action is very chunky. And that's kind of one of the things I don't love how loud it is, but you throw on some headphones and turn up the volume and you don't even notice it. The other thing I really like about the Crumar 7 is its incredibly simple user interface. You've just got like a row of buttons to pick your sound, and that's it. Pretty much. There's a few knobs that apply the effects. There's a volume knob. There's a power switch. It's pretty much it. The user manual was one page. It's like you turn it on, and here's how you save presets, which I forgot how to do because I don't do it very often. And that was it. That's all you need to know how to operate this keyboard. Everything else is very straightforward. There's no hidden menus. There's no, menu diving. There isn't even a screen. The other thing I like about this keyboard is the inputs and outputs are on the side, which might seem a little bit weird, but it's really nice. So instead of having to like lean over the keyboard if you want to unplug something, find the power switch, whatever, it's all just here. You just lean over and then you can see it, unless it's pushed up against a wall or something, which it doesn't really happen. It's fine and it's easy to access all that stuff. The one thing I wish it had was a throughput or an input so that you can use the fantastic effects in here and use the entire keyboard as a pedal board for other external pieces of gear, like a synthesizer or something. That would be phenomenal. But that's kind of asking for a lot, I guess, apparently. Are there any keyboards that actually do that? The Korg SV2, I think, has inputs. I don't know if you can run other sounds through the effects or not. That would be really cool. I want a keyboard that does that, because that would be pretty neat. But that's one of the things this doesn't do, unfortunately. Kind of a minor thing to want. My favorite thing about the Crumar 7, though, is the sounds. The sounds are phenomenal. Most of them. The Rhodes sound, the Electric Grand sound, the Clavinet sound, and the DX sound. Those are the four best ones. The Wurlitzer sound, the Reeds patch. It's fine. It's good. It just doesn't sound at all like a Wurlitzer. It sounds like a different type of piano, and that's fine in its own right, but it's just not really a super close imitation of, for example, a Rhodes. Hopefully I can get away with playing that on YouTube. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm not sure how aggressive the algorithms are these days, but we'll see. But no, the sounds of this keyboard are phenomenal. The Rhodes patch, the Clavinet patch, the DX7 patch in particular, they are all gorgeous. And the effects are fantastic too. The reverb is fantastic. The chorus is great. The amp drive is amazing. You throw all three of those on there. And you got something really funky, really cool, and I like it. I love the philosophy of Crumar when it comes to the Rhodes patch, and what I mean by that is they just give you the Rhodes patch. When you first boot up the keyboard, the Rhodes patch is the first thing there, and that's it. There's no reverb, there's no EQ, there's no auto pan, there's no phaser, there's no chorus. It's literally just the Rhodes patch, because they know it is that good to stand alone by itself, dry, with no effects, and still sound impressively good. And I really like that. I don't like having to turn off a bunch of things that I don't want every time I boot up the keyboard. It's just, here's your sound, go, have fun. If you want something different, do it yourself. And I just think I really like that. It makes it very easy to set up, makes it very easy to just sit down and record, sit down and play, whatever. It's really fantastic. A few things I don't like. Let's talk about those. One of the things that failed me was the original pedal. What I have right now is this on-stage pedal that I paid way too much money for. It's been great, this pedal. It's had no issues, and the build quality feels a lot higher than the original Crumar pedal did, which honestly just felt like something from Temu. That died a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago by now. It died right before a really important recital, and I was practicing many hours at home, and the fact that the pedal died right at that time was incredibly annoying. So I just went to the local music store and paid way too much money for a pedal. But it wouldn't sustain the notes when I pressed the pedal. If I leaned all my weight into it, it would. I'm not sure what died. I guess maybe the switch or something in there died. But alas, it died. I got a new one. So not great that the stock pedal died after a few years, but it's a replaceable part, I guess. So it was an easy fix, which is good. So that's one of the things that failed me on the Crumar, is that the pedal died in 4 years. Not too bad. There's a couple of weird quirks with the sounds and with the action. The black keys can slide forward like that, and the white keys apparently can do it too. And when you do that, they break and they don't work. And then you just pop them back into place with a nasty little click sound, and then they work fine. It's an easy fix. It shouldn't do that. I don't like that it does that. People have complained about the FATAR actions and like that company making unreliable products. I haven't had any other issues with the action besides that. No, sensors haven't died. Things haven't gummed up. Things haven't gotten super sloppy. The keys always have had a little bit of slop, especially in the black keys. They've always been a little bit clicky, a little bit loose, and they've always been loud like that. But that's the only issue I've had with the action. Again, not great, but it doesn't happen very often, so it's pretty intermittent. And one of the biggest things I've had from day one, and by biggest I mean it's a big issue, but it only happens once in a blue moon, is that you'll be playing it and the sound will cut out, and then if you keep playing, the sound will come back with a really loud staticky explosion. If you stop playing and you let it chill out for a moment, you don't get that staticky explosion, and then the sound comes back. It's happened on camera once, I think, which I don't have the file for anymore, and it happens so intermittently that it's practically a non-issue. It's happened once at a gig, nobody noticed, nobody cared, because I recognized that it had stopped playing, and so I just stopped playing, everyone else continued. Once I was like, okay, it's alive again, I kept playing, and nobody cared. So those are the main issues I've had with the Crumar 7. Other than those, it's been very reliable. It's been almost problem-free aside from those, and it's been a joy. It's been a dream to play, and I am looking forward to the next 4 years of playing and daily practicing on the Crumar 7. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have one of these, let me know. Let me know how it's been for you. Let me know what the Crumar 17 is like if you have one of those. It looks like the same thing in a different skin, pretty much. But yeah, no, the Crumar 7's been fantastic. I love it. I adore it. I don't ever want to sell it. It's fantastic. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a comment down below. I feel like I'm very out of practice with this, so feel free to give me any constructive criticisms that you deem necessary. And I will see you all in the next video.